WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. Once again, I have a Nc'nean here on the table. I've done a lot of these, actually. This is the Quiet Rebels named Amy. Amy works at the distillery. This was her own special little mix. We have 63% STR casks, shaved, toasted, recharred red wine cask, usually from Portugal. We have 18% ex-Bourbon casks, and we have 19% ex-Maury casks. I'll talk about those in a second. 10,132 bottles here in this batch, 48.5% ABV. Whiskybase number 262599. Now, over here in Germany, the recommended retail price was 84 euros and 90 cents, and this hit the market here in October of 2024. Now, you may ask yourself, what is a Maury? Maury. Now, this is actually an official region in France, and they have a fortified vin du natural. So that is wine that is fortified, just like we do with port, just like we do with sherry, just like we do with Madeira, and so on. So I hear the word vin du natural, and what do I immediately think of? I think of Waterford. So I'm actually going to pull out this and compare it. Why? Because this has port in it, as well as muscatel, and this is a new distillery. So we have actually 50% alcohol. Here we have 48.5% alcohol. Here we have a price of, let me just push this over here a little bit again. We have a price here of 84 euros. Over here we have a price of 78. So here they took 20 grams of seed of this heritage Goldthorpe grain barley. And they grew it, so they had about 2 kilos, and they grew the 2 kilos into about 50 kilos. They did the 50 kilos into about 400 kilos or so, and then they had enough to actually plant for a whole batch of whiskey. So it took them 5 years to go from a little package the size of almost a stamp up to enough grain to actually make a whiskey with. And it's cheaper than this. And here there's nothing really, in my opinion, special about this, except for those casks. So those Maui casks, they use red wine, just like we do also in port. The vin du natural style created by adding fortified spirits, brandy, to the wine in mid-fermentation. This halts the activities of the wine yeast, leaving the wine with natural residue sugars. And Maui is vinified. That's a word I've never heard before. I'm reading here from Wikipedia, by the way. In a manner similar to port, but initial aging is often conducted in large 25 liters, is about 6.6 US gallons. Glass jugs known as demijohns. And the wines may also be aged in wood for up to 15 years, and this results in wines varying in depth and concentration. So, and this is often used as an aperitif. Wow. And yes, often with duck, strong blue cheeses, maybe even for desserts. Banyuas, we've had those before. That is actually a Maui. Okay. And is recognized as a suitable pairing here for chocolate. So Banyuas, I've had I've had a handful of whiskeys that I've made from that special type, and the category above that is actually then this Maui. I'm learning. Okay, very good. So on the nose. That's actually a fairly good nose. It's still young. It's still a little bit of mineral moment. There's yeast. There's a little bit of a raspberry going on in there. A little bit of barley sugars, vanilla. I'm not getting STR really that strong, and it's 63%. Now, Nc'nean has had 4 Quiet Rebels. It started out with Annabelle. Annabelle was 64% ex-Bourbon, 22% Tokaja cask. That's actually a white wine from Hungary, 7% STR, red wine cask, and 7% Pedro Jimenez. Then it moved over here to Lorna. Lorna has 84%. They don't use the word ex-Bourbon. They call it ex-American whiskey casks. What is this? Because they had rye in there? I don't get it. And it was 18% here from French, the Pinot de Charité casks. Then we had Gordon, my least favorite, I think, of all the Quiet Rebels. Sorry, Gordon. He's the distillery manager there. It was not my cup of tea, sorry. We have 74% STR red cask. We have 19% sherry casks. And what didn't do it for me, and that's my problem, is Revisal cask, 7%. They are special. That's a special little spice moment. And here we have, with our Amy, as I've mentioned, we have 63% STR ex-wine, ex-red wine casks. We have 18% ex-bourbons and 19% these French port Maui casks. Now, the casks were filled in January, April, and June of 2020 and blacked out. We have to hide this as the Scotch whiskey regulations only allow us to show the age of the youngest parts of the whiskey. So there is whiskey in here from 2019. Now, if it's January 2020 and December 2019, that could literally be a week difference in age. Won't make a big difference. It was bottled between August and September. So if you start on August 31st or August 30th and go up to September 3rd, it might just be a couple days, but that's that. Nc'nean always uses 100% organic Scottish barley. Yay. They almost always use the same yeast types, Anchor and Fermentis. And this is bottled at 48.5%. Always natural color, always non-chilled filtered. So there's just a little bit of information here about these Lauri. The ex-Maury casks come from a small organic vineyard in France who produce a fortified wine that is made in a way similar to port. The 60-year-old vines are maintained with a variety of sustainable farming methods, including agroforestry, which involves integrating trees amongst the vines to improve soil richness. Interesting concept. The farm also follows biodynamic principles, just like Waterford uses some of those things, not this, but others, such as following the lunar calendar, which several studies show is an effective way to determine the best time to plant and harvest crops. So these ex-Maury casks have been blended with Nc'nean's house style of STR and ex-bourbon casks to create Amy's dream bottling. Aww. So Nc'nean is certified B Corporation, just like Buffalo Trace is, just like Bruichladdich is, and I'm sure other people will be following as well and also doing that in the future. All right, so as I said on the nose here, I like the nose here a tiny little bit better. We have a little bit of sour, as is sour grapes here. Here I also have a little bit, but I have more depth, more complexity, more French oak going on, to be honest. That's what's going on. I think the STR casks are also French oak, or European oak at least, so who knows. Let's try this, all right? So as I said, 48.5%, 50%. 84 euros, over here 78 euros. Sláinte. Okay. Yeah. There's a tiny little bit of that sour grape moment going on there. There's cask influence here. I do get a port. I do get that raspberry type of moment, or strawberry or whatever. The STR casks, really, really nice. It's still young. There's still a little bit of heat going on here. Burr has a little bit of that Kentucky hug going down to here. It's not the most elegant of whiskeys. Every single time I try Nc'nean, it's like, oh, what would this taste like after 8 years or 10 years? It's there, but not yet. It's good. It's a sea whiskey. The best Nc'nean I've ever had was a cask strength. If you can get your hands on that, buy it. Believe me, it's good. It's very, very good. And the Quiet Rebels are, this is the best one I've had so far, I think. I've given the rest a C-, D+, and this is actually a solid C. It's not great. It's not good enough to be a C+. It's definitely not a C-. It's a solid C whiskey. Value for money, D. All right. I can get, for 84 euros, I can get, from Buffalo Trace, let's just say that, I can get 3, if not almost 4 bottles with 45%. All right. I can get Knob Creek, 9-year-old, age statement, 50%. I could get here literally 2.5 bottles. I know I'm comparing apples with oranges, but still, this is extremely expensive, I think, for 84 plus euros. That's not the price category that I normally buy no age-stated whiskey at. All right, but hey, almost all the bottlings here are higher up in price. Yes, it's organic. Yes, they do have almost a 0 carbon footprint. Yes, it's female-owned and built on the farm from Annabelle, and they use their own forests and wood pellets and doing everything right and showing the whiskey world how to make great organic whiskey at in a environmentally friendly way. Yes, 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 yes. And yet, it's my money and it's my taste buds. And that's where I go, they have to actually match, all right? And this is just not worth the money, in my opinion. Okay, you might love it. Who knows? Going very briefly over to the Woodford here. That's the Goldthorpe that I have here. There was also the Hunter, but this is Goldthorpe. This has more complexity, more depth. This has still the youthfulness. This actually has a little bit of the youthfulness at the end. More wood, more of that virgin oak, more of the French oak, more of the muscatel in the port going on here. I beg Woodford one day to give me just the new make so I can see the differences, as well as maybe a pure bourbon matured product, and forget their cask mix that they love to use. All right, very, very good. My question is, do you know of any other whiskeys that actually have these Maui casks, M-A-U-R-Y? These French fortified vin de natural wines. Then that's too difficult. Let's just open it up to vin de natural. So what is your favorite product where they take a red wine, or a white wine for that case, and they fortify it, they add neutral grain spirits to it, basically brandy. So what is brandy? Brandy is then distilled wine. Grain neutral spirits are from grains. Brandy is from grapes. And they stop the fermentation, allow more sugar residue sugar to remain in there, like my wonderful ports do. I always have that here at the moment, 10-year-old port. Love it. And what products do you like with a vin de natural finish or maturation there? Sherry, port, Madeira, Maura. The other one was here, the Baluan. What do you like? Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, telling others, and Whiskey Jason here will be back real soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.